Over the last few days, the name of an American whistleblower, Edward Snowden, has become one of the hottest searched items in the global online community. The 29-year-old former CIA employee has outed himself as the contact who gave the Guardian newspaper and the Washington Post classified documents about how the US National Security Agency, the NSA, obtained data on individuals from US telecom and internet companies, the so-called PRISM project. Snowden has fled from Hawaii to Hong Kong, where he has said he will fight any extradition attempts by the US. He also said he didn't expect to return to the US ever as a free man. In a video posted on the Guardian's website, Snowden said, "Mainland China has significant restrictions on free speech, but the people of Hong Kong have a long tradition of protesting in the streets, making their views known." In an interview with the South China Morning Post, Snowden said hacking by US security agencies was rampant, and amongst the targets were websites and individuals in Hong Kong and China. The scandal only really hit the Chinese press yesterday as people returned to work after a three-day holiday. So now to see some of the online reaction to Snowden's flight, let's join our researcher, Esther Dang, in the newsroom. So first off, Esther, what are Chinese net users' first reactions when hearing about Edward Snowden and his revelations about this project?
Well, based on what I've seen, first of all, a lot of net users are really quite angry and disappointed to hear about these activities. Like this poster Doufuzui, who has this to say. This wiretapping scandal he's exposed really shocks me. The US is so immoral, so barbarian. Anybody's every telecommunication activity is monitored by the US intelligence departments. Well, at the same time, there are also a certain number of posters who don't feel that surprised at the exposure and point out that the US may not be that democratic or free as many Chinese people like to think. One typical example on this side is this comment posted on Weibo.com. I've read plenty of similar stories before. For instance, US net users can be investigated if they post suspicious words online. I have to say, democracy, freedom, and equality are all relative concepts. And wiretapping is actually something every government does. In a word, there's no heaven in the world. And also we have this poster Fan Haitao with a couple of questions. I wonder if a government itself violates the country's constitution. Is it the proper way to accuse an individual of breaking the law? And also, as a country known for respecting its constitution, can the US government make an arbitrary policy to set aside the constitution? Which is more important, the anti-terrorism campaign or the constitution?
Okay, so what you've given us there focuses mainly on the revelations and claims made by Edward Snowden since he arrived in Hong Kong. What are net users saying about the man, the whistleblower himself?
Well, from what I'm seeing online, it seems most Chinese net users are firmly behind him and think quite highly of what he's done. To give you an idea, a poll on the web portal iPhone.com, that's the official website of the Hong Kong-based Phoenix Television, that of over 160,000 posters, nearly 4 out of 5 consider Edward Snowden a fighter for freedom and believe he's defending the public's rights. And over 85% agree that he did the right thing. But still, there's a small number of posters who criticize him as a traitor. Shanghai Lao Wantong Wan says, he betrayed his own country and Hong Kong people won't treat a traitor as a hero. But others think that a traitor is going a bit too far. This is from a generous Beijing-based poster. What he'd done isn't as serious as treason. He just divulged state secrets and failed in his duty. As long as he doesn't use the intelligence to make money, the US president should absolve him.
Well, before making suggestions to Barack Obama, it might be interesting to see first how the governments in Hong Kong and Beijing feel about this. Now, it's no secret that Edward Snowden is, or at least was, in Hong Kong, although his exact whereabouts is not so clear. What's being said about his choice of safe haven?
Well, first, I'd like to point out that many posters here find it difficult to comprehend his choice of China as a refuge. Listen to this comment on Caixun.com. In terms of political asylum, the best choice for him is Iceland. It's quite difficult for people, especially for Chinese people, to figure out why he chose China. It's always Chinese people who apply for political asylum from the US. Now it's the other way around. And certainly there is no shortage of voices calling for support and protection for Snowden, like 生存在线 on sina.com.cn. The U.S. always protects so-called Chinese human rights activists, so now we should also protect this American guy. And 毛毛摄影 from Shanxi comments, what Edward Snowden has done doesn't violate the law in Hong Kong or on mainland China, so he shouldn't be handed over to the U.S. While at the same time, plain posters I've seen are discussing who has the right to determine his destiny. Dongdu Caizi has this analysis on iPhone.com. Extradition falls within the realm of diplomacy, but as the PRC is responsible for Hong Kong's foreign relations, it has no diplomatic rights, so it should be the Chinese government that makes the decision. And there's no extradition agreements between China and the U.S., so China won't break any international law, even if it doesn't send him back to the U.S. And also, a number of posters point out that Edward Snowden's actions have left both the U.S. and Chinese governments in a rather awkward dilemma. Xiao Yan comments, he's caused the trouble for both China and the U.S. We know that both leaders just finished their talks over the hacking issue during the Mailand summit that helped reduce the mistrust and frictions between the two countries over this issue. But now things may have to change.
Right. Finally, Esther, over the past few months, the United States has been quite open about accusing China of employing hackers to grab military and commercial intelligence. But now Edward Snowden says that over the years, the US has been doing more or less the same thing, including here in China. How's that going down?
Well, again, there's a lot of angry voices out there over what many see as a hypocrisy. This poster, 智慧东方光彩夺目, says, the US accused China of attacking their internet, but the fact is it is tapping the whole world. And this poster writes on Weibo.com. Edward Snowden has let us know that the US is monitoring the whole world, and the devices we use, from iPhones to Microsoft software to Intel products, are all effective ways for the US to monitor us. So I suggest our government and key industries like banks and telecoms companies not use these products. And finally, I've also seen plenty of posters who are eager to mention the two Chinese telecom companies whose products the U.S. government has more or less vetoed on the grounds of national security, like this poster on iPhone.com, who says, now I finally understand why the U.S. government didn't give the green light to Huawei and ZTE communication devices. It wasn't only that they wanted to protect domestic companies. The key point is that by using their own products, the U.S. can more easily have complete information control.
Okay, thanks for that, Esther. And that was China Tech researcher Esther Dung with reaction here online to the whistleblower Edward Snowden, who's now in Hong Kong, revealing secrets about the NSA, the National Security Agency in the United States, and its wiretapping activities. Next up here on China Tech, some of the top trending phrases on China's most popular search engines.